Who jumps out of perfectly good airplanes in the name of science? Mr. C.
Eighth graders, happy downhill day to you, aka happy Wednesday. So, hey, I want to show you my little drawing for happy downhill day. See it there at the very top? See the hill or the mountain and the arrow up over the top and going down, going down. Okay, that's us this week. Just wanted you to see that. Hey, any of you have got a makeup test? Either test 1 or test 2 for this quarter. Hey, you got to get those done. You got to get those in. And let's do it by Friday. Make arrangements with Mr. Phillip. Make those tests up. Please get them done. And then RLO students, please, if you haven't yet taken those tests and posted them, please do so. Please by Friday. Okay? So, anyway, I come out to school on Saturdays, so I'll pick up those makeup tests on Saturday, and then it'll take me a few days to get them in the computer. This week, I will grade test 2. I probably will grade a section or 2 a day. So it's going to take some time, so bear with me, but you know I will get them in. So, pardon me. Hey, today, if you'll make sure that you've got this out, please make sure you've got out your periodic table. So please be taking it out. Please, if you will, take out your lesson summaries. Mr. Phillip has passed them out to you. Please don't lose these. Got one copy apiece. Please don't lose it. So, anyway, there'll be a charge. It'll cost you some points if you lose this and need another copy. So, and you've got to have it. So, please take it out. Highlighter out. You'll want to write in this. Your journal's out. And I have just a scary thought about your journal. There could be a few of you sitting out there that you're going, Mr. C's not going to collect those journals. Or if he does, I think he's got his calendar here, and I do. So I have my calendar right here, and here is May. And on May 14th, I'm going to collect those journals. See, it's right there on the 14th. Okay? Collect those journals on the 14th. And it's going to be worth a chunk of points, like a test. How many points? I'd say 30 to 40. So if you're going, I don't really care about those journals, it will cost you big time. It could cause you to lose 2 letter grades. And if you get it in late, it's going to cost you, probably it will cost you 25% if you get it in late, like a day too late. It's due on the 14th. That's a Friday, May 14th. So if you turn that baby in, say, Monday or Tuesday of the next week or Wednesday, it's going to cost you a minimum of 25%. So let's say it's 40 points. You'll only get 30. And then I'll deduct from there if you didn't have it filled out completely. So if you get a 30 out of 40 and then you're missing stuff, so I'll give you maybe 25, 26 or 27 out of 40. How much is that? About 60%. That can't help your grade very much. Mr. C, I get that. I get the math. So, word of the wise. And some of you, if you know how you do sometimes with your parents. Not most of you, but some of you. You don't turn your stuff in on time, and then you get a Pinocchio because your parents say, how come your grade is a D? And you go, well, we didn't really know about an assignment that was due. We didn't really know about it. Pinocchio after Pinocchio. So I'm telling you 6 weeks ahead about that being due. 6 weeks. So about your journal being due on the 14th of May. I didn't know about it. Uh-huh. All right. Sure. And you're a snowman, in Arizona in the summer. Yeah, right. So Anyway, just saying word to the wise. Hey, this week, another word to the wise. So your homework tonight is review your journals. And review lesson summary 1 and 2. I think that's where we'll get. And review the names of the elements that we've gone over so far. So review those babies. Okay? So anyway, I'm just saying. Hey, and here's a word to the wise. All right, we don't have a test this week. No test. Rest easy. Not so fast. Why not? Well, even though you don't have a test, and I tell you to review, have you got a chance of there being a PQ this week? PQ, remind me, what's a PQ? Pop quiz? Oh yeah, that. This would be a great week for a pop quiz. Yeah. So how many points for a pop quiz? 10, 12. So, hey, you could even have another chance for Pinocchio this week. Well, we didn't even have any clue that there could have been a pop quiz, and I got a 2 out of 12 on it. Pinocchio. So, anyway, I don't want you to get, a low score and Pinocchios, because when you get Pinocchios, it messes with your conscience. Because if you're a believer, the Holy Spirit reminds you. It's like, in your soul and spirit. The Holy Spirit's good at reminding us. And if you're not a believer, you've never asked Jesus in, and you're not interested right now, I pray that's not true of anybody. But if that were, someone's situation, well, your conscience gets you. So Christians, you've got kind of a double reminder. Your conscience, which is made sensitive by the Holy Spirit. So just reminding you of all of that. Hey, next week's test. Hey, Mr. C, what's the test on next Tuesday? So, and again, here's, you tell your parents, I had no idea what the topics were. They're not up on RenWeb yet, but they will be. So when? Maybe generally they'll be up in both the 7th, 8th grade homework notes section and the 8th grade. I'm going to say they'll be up there by at least Thursday evening. Okay? So what's it going to include? Well, for 8th grade, it's going to include all the chemistry stuff. So it's going to include the elements that we've gone over so far, their properties, what they're like. The test will also include next week atoms, the forces, the particles, the Large Hadron Collider, anything that has to do with chemistry next Tuesday. Okay? So all of that, I'm going to ask you to write my favorite John 1:3. Those of you that have watched The Chosen, you know that John was one of the 12 disciples, and he wrote the book of John. So, in fact, The Chosen Season 2 is now up and on YouTube. And the theme includes John writing John chapter 1. And my favorite verse, 1:3. So, but I love it all. So anyway, and then I'm probably going to ask you also next week, hey, in Colossians 1:17, what does it say that Jesus does regarding the creation? He holds everything together. So those on our last test, yeah. So, you know how I like to repeat things. So anyway, well, in just a little bit, I want to review the final of college basketball that occurred. Now, I'm taping this on Tuesday evening, so it occurred on Monday evening. But I wanted to show you this first. What are you going to do? I've got to make sure I've got something. Did I bring it? Oh yeah, there it is. I got it. Okay, good. So, all right, here we go. What are you going to do? You'll find out. It's hard blowing these balloons up. Hey, a little tip: when you blow a balloon up, you don't want to be sucking in when you get it really big. One time I did this. I was sucking in a little bit and it exploded. And I got a little bit of the balloon into my lung. Not good. Okay, this is a model. So, what's this a model of? Here. Oh, look, it blew apart into 3 pieces down there on the floor. Why did you do that? Well, I just wanted to use that as a model of the Big Bang. I'm looking at the balloon, and did the explosion of that balloon cause order? No. Is it like just kind of random places it landed? Yeah. Yep. And is there kind of a pattern to the piece? No, no pattern. No, it's just disorder, chaos. It's a nice analogy for the Big Bang. And there are a lot of, hey, by the way, there's a lot of scientists that don't believe the Big Bang did it. There was a Big Bang. They don't believe it makes sense scientifically. So I'm just saying, it's not just a Christian thing. Oh, well, it's just a Christian belief that the Big Bang didn't occur. When you take science classes at a public school, or when you go to a secular college, not a Christian college, even a Christian college, they'll teach, oh yeah, the Big Bang, because they want to look good with secular scientists. They want to look good. They don't want to be kind of different, even though the science isn't that good. They just, it's kind of embarrassing to not match. Not for me, to not match secular science. Secular science doesn't make sense. It's used by Satan in a lot of cases. I didn't say in every case, but when it comes to evolution, creation and evolution, Satan jumps all over secular science and uses it. He hijacks it and uses it in the area of creation evolution. Now, most of science is just pure science. It's data conclusions, but not in the creation evolutionary. Nope. It's not. So, hey, I want to show you this now. Speaking of data, check this out. Get close, Mr. C. Okay, here we go. What is it? It's all the data. I'm going to darken that up a little bit and see if that helps. Might not. All the data from the Baylor Gonzaga game, which occurred Monday night. Now, here's the scientific method. It's a basketball game. Hey, everything is science. If there's numbers involved, it's science. There's data, and you can get some conclusions and application. So here's a question. Why did Baylor win 86-70 and they never trailed in the whole game? So I had a hypothesis. Come up with a hypothesis on your own. I'm serious. Right now, think of a hypothesis. Put your thumb up. Let Mr. Phillips see it when you've got a hypothesis why Baylor won 86-70. And, don't just come up with a general hypothesis. They were better. Well, Gonzaga had a perfect record. Baylor had lost 2 games. Is that right? Baylor was 28-2. Gonzaga was 31-0. Woo! So what's your hypothesis? Why Baylor won? Now, you know what my hypothesis was? I had heard in sports news that Baylor could really shoot 3-pointers. So my hypothesis was that if they could light it up from 3-point range, they'd win. My hypothesis was if Gonzaga could stop their 3-point shooters from being successful, they might win. And listen to this data. It turns out that Baylor shot 45% from field goals, not free throws. And Gonzaga shot 51%, like 6% higher. Well, why didn't Gonzaga win? Well, here's some of the data. Some of the data is Baylor got off 30 shots. I'm sorry, Baylor made 30 shots, 30 field goals, and Gonzaga only made 25. Oh, okay. That's That's one variable. So what are the control variables in this? Same basketball court, same refs. They played 30 minutes on each side, so you couldn't say, well, one of the baskets wasn't fair. It was rattly or was higher or low. No, they each got 30 minutes at each basket. They turn around at the half. So all those things were controlled. Now I know, it's rare, but sometimes a call from a referee in any sport makes a big difference and affects the outcome in a game. Shouldn't be, but it happens. It happens. Happens in every sport. We live in an imperfect world, so if the games were played in heaven, they'd be perfectly called, but unfortunately they're being played on imperfect earth, where, thank you Adam and Eve for their sin, because of that, things go haywonkus on us in just about every area. Hey, what were the other variables here that may have affected the game? Listen to this. Baylor hit 44% of their three-pointers. Wow! They made 10 3-point. Oh, that was a variable, wasn't a big variable. One of the independent variables that made the difference. Yep, but that wasn't the only one. Okay? Now, Gonzaga shot 6 less three-pointers, and Gonzaga only made 5 of 17. Half of what Baylor made. All that made a difference. Listen to this. So, free throws. Baylor was 16 of 18, 89%. Wow. Gonzaga was 15 of 21, 71% on free throws. A little bit of a factor. Listen to the rebounds. Baylor had 38 rebounds and Gonzaga had 22. Wow, that was a big difference right there. So there were a number of variables that made the difference. And I'm looking at the data, and the conclusion is, well, that's those variables. You look at all those stats and go, I'll bet Baylor won. And then you go, yeah, they did win. So that was the conclusion. By the way, application, practice, practice, practice. You know how my daughter Laura has talked to you about your superpower and how do you develop it? Practice, practice, practice. Do you think the guys for Baylor that dropped those threes in and did it all season, do you think they shot a free throw or two? They've shot probably thousands and thousands of threes in practice. And that's why they're good. So same with free throws. Hey, you want to get good at anything? Practice, practice, practice. Thousands of times, whatever it is, and practice it correctly. Anyway, I wanted you to see that data. I thought you'd find that interesting. So, and I found it really, really interesting. So if you'll do this now, if you'll take out your periodic table, you'll have it at the ready. And if you'll get a highlighter out and a pen. Now, I know we finished LS8. So let's do LS9 really quick, and then a few of the elements. So I've got a video for you that's 2 minutes long that I will highlight in a little bit. All right, look at this, Ls9 Metals. So I want to go over Ls9 with you, metals. Just 2 boxes. Metals. Okay, now, and I especially want to focus on the properties of the metals. That means what they are like. By the way, I've been just picking this up. This will be due on the 14th of May also, 6 weeks from now. So, or 5 weeks from now, from this Friday. So if your parents go, hey, how come you didn't turn in the SSRs? I see you didn't get any score on that. So it's not a 0, you just didn't get a score on them. Well, I didn't know about it. Pinocchio, you heard about it like 5 weeks early at least. I've mentioned it before. You can turn it in anytime. So, okay. So here we go, Ls9 metals. The majority of elements in the periodic table are metals. Remember, on the left and way into the middle, so and all the way across, you've got metals. In the middle, you've got metalloids in the middle. Metalloids are some properties of metals and some of nonmetals, and nonmetals on the right. Metals extending over, metalloids in the middle, and nonmetals on the right. All right, so here are the metals and their characteristics. So metals are great conductors of electricity. Highlight that. Highlight all this in the top box. Great conductors of electricity and heat. Here is one metal. This is a fabulous conductor of electricity. Of course, it's Cu copper. It basically demonstrates all the properties of the metals. It's a great conductor of heat. Pots and pans are often used of it to conduct heat to the food. It's great at carrying electricity. The majority of homes have wiring, electrical wiring, in the walls that's made of copper. So copper. Arizona, by the way, is a copper state. Not as much, but lots of copper in Arizona. But it is mined more cheaply other places now. So not so much in Arizona. Another characteristic of metals is they're shiny. Is this shiny? Metals have luster, a property that means they're shiny when light hits it. They can be hammered into sheets. This is a sheet. So it's malleable. It's called malleable, hammered into sheets. I'm probably going to ask it like this. It'll either be a matching, or I'll simply say something like this. When you hear the word malleable, what do you think of? Just a metal that can be hammered into a thin sheet. And then all metals, but especially copper, is ductile. That means you can stretch it out into wires, thin wires. And copper, of course, can do that. So anyway, all of those characteristics in the top box. Metals also will corrode. So you see the word corrosion in the top box down there at the bottom. Corrosion. So we're on that side, isn't it? Corrosion. And it means it combines with other elements and kind of deteriorates or breaks down. So, and copper will do that. Other metals will do that as well. So, iron oxide, right? Rust is deteriorated iron. I've got a chunk of iron right here. If you look at it closely, you should be able to see some orange on it. Rust. It's combined with oxygen to begin to break down the metal some. Okay? Metals are also pretty dense. The atoms are packed tight. So, and this is extremely dense, this chunk of iron. Really dense. Could be a meteorite. Not exactly sure. Could be. So anyway, and then the bottom box, over on the far left, this is going to be group 1. Remember the elements, the vertical rows are groups or families, the horizontal rows are periods. That's why it's called the periodic table. Okay? This group is the alkali metals. At the top, I'd like you to write alkali. See how I did that? At the top, right above hydrogen. Hydrogen actually isn't an alkali metal. It's a gas. But below hydrogen, there are alkali metals. So write alkali. A-L-K-A-L-I. I'm going to show you a little video on alkali metals. Alkali metals are very reactive. So right here in the bottom box, highlight alkali metals right there. Highlight that. Highlight that. Any stuff I've highlighted in the top box, highlight it. Highlight what I highlight. Bottom box. What does it say about alkali metals? Just group 1, they're the most reactive metals in the periodic table. Then in the upper right hand corner, I'd like you to highlight transition metals. See that? And the transition metals basically groups 3 through 12. And most of these metals, highlight this, they're hard and shiny solids. And they have high melting points, highlight all that. You've really got to heat them up a lot to cause them to melt. They have high densities, the atoms are packed really tight. So, and then you've got in the lower part, right there where it says transuranium, see that? Highlight that. Those are man-made elements. Transuranium elements are man-made elements. So you're writing that down. Man-made elements. Okay, that's LS2, so triple R, LS1 and 2. Now, so far I want to give you the ones we've gone over. On the test, there's going to be about 21 elements that you're going to have to know the symbol for and a property or two of it so you can do a matching. I'm going to do a matching. Like, so far, what do we have? We've got the bookend gases that are on the sun, mostly hydrogen and helium. H for hydrogen, He for helium. Then you've got carbon found in living tissues. Nitrogen, major gas in the atmosphere we're breathing in. Mostly nitrogen, 78%. Then oxygen, about 19%. So you've got that. And then I'm looking across, what else have we done? Fe for iron. We've done Cu for copper. Copper metal, Cu copper, number 29. We've done that. We did Si for silicon. Here's a chunk of silicon. Silicon is a metalloid. So this would be a good, really, really good matching. Which element is a metalloid and it's used in computer chips to put little micro electric currents in, because it sometimes will carry electricity well, other times not so well, but it's perfect for computer chips. Si silicon, so we've done that. And we did Al aluminum, a soft, light metal, pretty strong aluminum, Al aluminum. So I think so far those are the ones we've done. So review those tonight. If we had a pop quiz and I ask you for those 8 and their symbols, you'll want to make sure you nail them. Tomorrow we'll go over some additional metals. We'll finish up the metals tomorrow. So there are a number of other metals yet that I want to show you. And I've got one of them in me. Ooh, too much information. No, it's a good thing. A number of artificial bones now are made of titanium. Very light, very strong. I'll get to that tomorrow. Okay, 2-minute video, and this video is on the alkali metals. I think you'll enjoy it. So, and the balloon that I showed you earlier has something in common with the alkali metals. You'll see what it is starting right now, and then Mr. Phillip will show the video and then answer any questions for you. Mr. Phillip, thank you.